Let us begin by observing the serious man. We all know him because most of the time we are him. Look at us. Look at the faces we wear on the subway at 800 a.m. Look at the way we grip the steering wheel in traffic. Look at the furrow in our brows as we read the news on our glowing rectangles. We are profoundly, deeply, terrifyingly serious. We act as if we are carrying the structural integrity of the universe on our shoulders. We act as if the spinning of the planets depends on whether we clear our inbox by Friday. We have convinced ourselves that life is a problem to be solved, a test to be passed, a battle to be won. We view our existence as a linear trajectory from point A, birth, to point B, death, and we are obsessed with gathering as many tokens, badges, and accolades as possible along the way to prove that we were here, to prove that we mattered. And this grim seriousness is the setup of the joke. Because if we could zoom out, if we could pull the camera back from our office cubicle, back from our city, back from the stratosphere, what would we see? We would see a tiny, fragile blue marble suspended in a vast, silent, infinite void. We would see that we are microscopic biological organisms clinging to the surface of a wet rock that is hurtling around a ball of fire at 67,000 miles per hour. We are dust that woke up. We are stardust that started thinking about its credit score. From this perspective, our stress is not noble. Our anxiety is not important. It is hilarious. It is the absurdity of a child playing house in a burning building, arguing over who gets to be the daddy while the roof is caving in. But we have forgotten we are playing. We think the game is real, and that forgetting, that is the great cosmic joke. We live in a culture that is obsessed with meaning and purpose. In America, we are terrified of pointlessness. We need to know, why am I here? What is my destiny? So we treat life like a pilgrimage. We treat it like a journey to a destination. We go to kindergarten to get to first grade. We go to high school to get to college. We go to college to get a job. We work to get a promotion. We get a promotion to get a mortgage. We pay the mortgage to get to retirement. And we assume that at the end of this long, exhausting ladder, there is a prize. There is a moment where the confetti falls and a voice says, "Congratulations, you made it, you are valid." But we are missing the point. We are missing the nature of reality. Life is not a journey to a destination. Life is music. Think about a song. When you listen to a symphony, do you wait for the final crashing chord to enjoy it? Is the purpose of the song to get to the end? If that were the case, the best conductors would be the ones who played the fastest. The best dancers would be the ones who reached the specific spot on the floor and sat down first. But that is absurd. The point of the music is the music. The point of the dance is the dance. The point of life is the living of it. But we are rushing through the song. We are looking at our watches during the solo. We are asking, are we there yet? And the universe is watching this spectacle, this frantic, desperate running toward the grave, and it is laughing. Not a cruel laugh, not a mocking laugh, but the laugh of a loving parent watching a child hide from a monster that is just a pile of laundry on a chair. Let's go deeper into the ego, the I, the me. This is the main character of the joke. We feel that we are a something inside a nothing. We feel like a tiny center of consciousness locked inside a bag of skin, peering out at a hostile, alien world. We say, I came into this world. You didn't. You came out of this world. You grew out of this world in exactly the same way an apple grows out of an apple tree. You are an expression of the environment. You are not a stranger here. You are the works. But we have created this hallucination called the ego. The ego is a collection of memories, labels, traumas, and desires that we have bundled together and named myself. And we spend our entire lives defending this bundle. We build walls around it. We buy insurance for it. We get offended if someone insults it. We get depressed if someone ignores it. We are trying to make the ego permanent. We are trying to make the wave freeze in the middle of the ocean and stay as a wave forever. But the wave cannot stay. The wave must crash. The wave must return to the ocean. And the joke is, the wave was never separate from the ocean in the first place. The wave is the ocean waving. You are the universe peopling. Why does this matter? Why is this a joke and not a tragedy? Because we are suffering for a case of mistaken identity. We are like a king who has fallen asleep and is dreaming he is a beggar. In the dream, he is hungry. He is cold. He is terrified of the guards. He is crying out for help. The suffering feels 100% real. The adrenaline is real. The tears are real. But is he in danger? No. He is safe in his castle, sleeping in a bed of silk. The moment he wakes up, he will laugh. He will say, "Oh, thank God, it was just a dream. I thought I was poor. I thought I was dying, but I was the king the whole time." Enlightenment is simply waking up from the dream of separation. It is realizing that you are not the poor, struggling, anxious ego. You are the witness behind the ego. You are the silence in which the noise happens. You are the king. Let's talk about the concept of hide and seek. This is the theology of the Joker. Imagine for a moment that you are God, not the old man in the sky with a beard, but the ultimate reality, the source. The energy that spins the galaxies. You are infinite. You are eternal. You are all-knowing. Now be honest, if you were that, wouldn't you get bored if you knew everything that was going to happen? There would be no surprise, no thrill, no suspense, no adventure. So what would you do to cure the boredom of eternity? You would play a game. You would decide to fracture yourself. You would break yourself into billions of little pieces. You would become the stars, the rocks, the trees, the cats, the humans. And to make the game interesting, you would impose a rule on yourself, voluntary amnesia. You would forget who you really are. You would pretend with total commitment that you are not God. You would pretend you are a stressed-out graphic designer in Seattle. You would pretend you are a single mother in Ohio. You would pretend you are a lonely teenager in Tokyo. You would get so lost in the role, so immersed in the drama that you would feel actual fear, actual pain, actual heartbreak. Why? Because that is the only way to feel alive. You wanted the drama, you wanted the contrast. You cannot know the light without the dark. You cannot know pleasure without pain. You cannot know the joy of being found unless you first get lost. So when you look in the mirror, you are looking at God in drag. You are looking at the universe wearing a mask. And the person you hate, that's God in a different mask. The person you love, that's God in a different mask. It is all you. It is a one-man show. It is a monologue pretending to be a dialogue. And when you realize this, when you really feel it in your gut, you start to laugh. You laugh at your own drama. You laugh at your own seriousness. You realize that the things you were crying about are just plot twists in a movie that you wrote, directed, and starred in. But the ego hates this joke. The ego wants to be special. The ego wants to be the victim or the hero. The ego says, "No, my pain is real, my struggle is serious. Don't tell me it's just a game." And that is okay. The game requires us to take it seriously for a while. But we are tired. Look around. We are so tired of the heaviness. We are tired of the fear. We are ready to hear the punchline. Let's look at our anxiety about the future. We worry. We plan. We stress. We treat the future as if it is a hostile territory we must conquer. We sacrifice today to secure tomorrow. But the future doesn't exist. Have you ever touched the future? Have you ever breathed in the future? Have you ever eaten a meal in the future? No. You can only ever experience the now. When the future comes, it will come as the now. So worrying about the future is like trying to eat a meal that hasn't been cooked yet. It creates indigestion of the soul. The joke is that we miss the entire banquet of life because we are too busy reading the menu for the next course. We are starving in the middle of a feast. And what about death? This is the ultimate punchline, the dark humor of the cosmos. We spend our entire lives terrified of death. We hide it in hospitals. We don't talk about it. We use creams and surgeries to pretend we aren't aging. We act as if death is a failure. We act as if death is an error in the system. But death is just the other side of life. You cannot have heads without tails. You cannot have an inhale without an exhale. Alan Watts used to say that death is just the universe taking off a tight shoe. It is a relief. Imagine how funny it would be to wake up after you die and realize that there was nothing to be afraid of. To realize that it was just a ride. To realize that you were never born and you never died. You just changed frequency. You just woke up from the dream of being human. The fear of death is the fear of the ego losing its story. But you are not the story. You are the paper the story is written on. So how do we live with this knowledge? Do we just give up? Do we become nihilists? Do we just sit on the couch and do nothing because nothing matters? No, that is the trap of the cynical mind. When you get the cosmic joke, you don't stop living. You start playing. This is the concept of Lila divine play. You still go to work. You still pay your taxes. You still do the dishes. You still raise your children. You still cry when you are sad, but you do it with a twinkle in the eye. You do it with a lightness. You do it like a dance, not like a march. You stop working and you start playing at your job. You stop managing your relationships and you start dancing with them. When you are washing the dishes, you aren't angrily scrubbing a plate to get it over with so you can go do something important. You realize that washing the dishes is the important thing. It is the universe washing itself. You feel the warm water, you smell the soap, you admire the shine of the porcelain. You are fully there. When you are in traffic, you aren't fuming. You are just sitting. You are watching the world go by. You realize the traffic is just as much a part of the Tao as the river. It is flow. It is energy. You stop forcing things. You embrace wu-wei effortless action. You flow around obstacles like water instead of trying to smash through them like a rock. You stop trying to impress people. Why would you try to impress them? They are just other versions of you who have forgotten who they are. They are just other actors who are lost in their roles. When you see a CEO acting important, you don't feel intimidated. You smile. You see a child playing king. It's cute. When you see someone angry and shouting, you don't feel attacked. You see a child throwing a tantrum because they are scared. You feel compassion. You become the only adult in the room. Not an arrogant adult, but a kind, knowing adult who understands that everyone else is just having a nightmare. And you stop judging yourself. This is the greatest relief. If you are feeling sad, you say, the universe is feeling sad in this location right now. If you are feeling anxious, you say, the universe is feeling anxious here. It's just weather. You don't scream at the rain. You don't take the rain personally. You just put on a coat. You allow yourself to be human. You allow yourself to be messy, because even the mess is part of the perfection. Even the wrong notes are part of the jazz. The most subversive thing you can do in this culture, a culture of misery, a culture of striving, is to be happy for no reason. We are taught that we need a reason to be happy. I am happy because I got a raise. I am happy because my team won. I am happy because I fell in love. But that is conditional happiness. That is fragile. That can be taken away. The cosmic joke invites you to unconditional joy. The joy of existing. The joy of consciousness. You can look at a tree and start laughing at the sheer beauty and absurdity of it. You can look at your dog and see the Buddha. You can look at your own hand and realize it is made of stardust that has existed for billions of years, temporarily shaped into fingers. This joy is untouchable. The economy can crash, the relationship can end, the body can age, but this joy remains because it is not based on circumstances. It is based on the realization of the game. So tonight I want us to try something. Go to a mirror, close the door, look at yourself, Look past the wrinkles, past the acne, past the tired eyes, past the styling. Look into the pupil, the black hole in the center of the eye, and smile. Smile at the God hiding in there. Smile at the actor behind the mask. Wink at yourself. Acknowledge the game. Say to yourself, I see you. You're doing a great job playing this character. It's a hard role. But I know who you really are, and I love you for playing it. Step off the treadmill of becoming. Step into the dance of being. The world is not a problem to be solved. It is a reality to be experienced. The cage door is open. It has always been open. We were just so busy shaking the bars, screaming for help that we didn't look down and see that there was no lock. Walk out. The air is fresh, the stars are shining, and if you listen closely, you can hear them laughing. You are the joke, and you are the laughter, and you are the silence that follows, and it is all perfect. Breathe, smile, play.